What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I am your host, Matthew Sonic Mix, and we've got some great topics for you here today. We're going to kick things off with a very quick review of NXT UK Blackpool 2, followed by the predictions of NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide that's happening this Saturday night on the WWE Network, followed by with predictions of WWE Royal Rumble, which is happening this Sunday, also on the WWE Network. We're going to give a quick prediction on who we think is going to win the Super Bowl and the score between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. A funny quick story that happened at work and my recap on my first day back in college after 6 long years. Going to talk about that. And then our main event is a couple questions that a buddy of mine wanted to ask, and we will be filling in those questions later on this evening. But ladies and gentlemen, welcoming back to the show, he is not just a college friend of mine, he is a longtime good buddy of mine. You know him. He is Tony Trinity. Tony, welcome back. How's it going?
I'm glad to be back, and I'm not doing too bad either. I'm very excited for the Super Bowl because thank God the Packers got out.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And also, on top of that, it's funny that we're supposed to do this podcast last week, but we didn't. And guess what happened? We didn't do the predictions on who was going to win for the Super Bowl, the AFC, and the NFC brackets, like for the Super Bowl championships. And guess what? The Packers lost. Ha!
Yeah, I know.
And then the week before that was I predicted that the Packers weren't going to lose, but they ended up winning, and we missed it 1 week, and guess what? They lose.
To be fair, this was my prediction, actually. If we were going to have the show last week. My prediction was that I thought Tennessee was going to beat the Chiefs, but I did thought that the 49ers were going to beat the Packers.
Really? Coming from a Packers fan.
I just did not think with the outstanding offense and defense of the 49ers, I just thought there'd be no chance. And there was kind of no chance, although, the Packers were trying to make something happen in the fourth quarter, but it never came to fruition.
Wasn't that kind of like the Seahawks versus the Packers? Like the Seahawks was climbing their way into it, and they end up losing.
Yeah, something along that line, yeah.
Because of them cheater Packers and their freaking millimeter of a freaking first down garbage that they had to do, that freaking millimeter first down at the last moments of the fourth quarter. I'm like, you cocksuckers, you son of bitches. I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? When is that even a thing nowadays? And plus, everybody now is going to be dunking their heads into the touchdown, and that counts as the touchdown now. What the fuck is that? What happens when they're... What happened back in the good old days where the 2 feet had to pass the freaking touchdown line?
Well, the rules keep changing, my friend.
Bullshit fucking rules. Why can't they be freaking old school?
Well, unfortunately, old school is just too old these days.
Like the freaking football sport itself.
Right.
And baseball, no less.
Right. So let's jump into our review of the NXT UK takeover Blackpool 2. We're going to go over this really quick because I know this is like a week old now, or almost a week old now.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of breeze through it kind of quick here. Travis Banks. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Travis Banks. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be on tomorrow's show, if I'm not mistaken. I got the lineup right here. I'm gonna look at it in just a moment here.
I think
Trent
it's a fatal
Seven,
four-way.
yeah, right? Trent Seven versus Eddie Dennis. You know, honestly, I thought this match was decent, but nothing special.
Nothing really special either. It was like, from what I can remember, it was a little too slow for my taste.
I thought the one spot was the Razor's Edge to the outside. I thought that was the only good spot, but other than that, it was pretty slow. Nothing much happened. 2.75. I really can't give it a 3.
I mean, I also give it like a 2.75, maybe 2.5, not even a 3, because it was really slow. Except for that Razor's Edge, like you mentioned, was a pretty cool moment, but other than that, it was really slow. I thought my guy was going to win for all that time because it was like inching, but it seems like your guy ended up winning that match.
Yes, because I went for Eddie Dennis.
Yes.
And then the next match, it was Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm, and Piper Niven in the three-way women's match. Started off slow, and I was getting a little worried. I was like, uh-oh, is this going to be like another decent, like below 3-star match? But it picked up in like the last 5 minutes, and it was an enjoyable match.
I agree. It was I agree. It was pretty enjoyable. Like the ladies were, like you mentioned, was getting a little slow, and then the business picked up, and then when Kaylee Ray was out of the match for most of the match, and then the Toni Storm got in the mix of it and whatnot. We thought that she was going to win because it was supposed to be Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley and the Worlds Collide to unify the titles that way or some crap like that. But I guess that's not going to happen. Only reason why Kaylee Ray was out of the match most of it because of her minor to moderate injury. So I guess they're protecting her in that aspect. And then her coming in at the end of the match and picks up the victory actually kind of made her look a little strong at that point. Not really making the other women weak. It just made them work harder to get it again.
Right. So I give about a 3 1/4.
3 1/4, maybe 3.5, maybe if I'm generous. Actually, you know what? Screw this. I am being generous. I'll give it 3.5.
Up next was Tyler Bate, Jordan. What the hell is his name? Jordan Devlin. There we go. Jordan Devlin. Outstanding match. Very outstanding. Great wrestling, great technical wrestling. It was literally the whole package combined. And I remember looking at Jordan Devlin when he first popped onto the scene. I didn't really see anything special about him at first, but he improved big time as the years.
That's the Finn Balor lookalike, right?
Yeah, he's the Finn Balor clone.
Well, could I tell you something? I knew that we're going to see something special. I don't think that we expected it to be this soon. Because I think it was going to be a little bit longer for him to get anything special. But I guess that one match with Finn Balor catapulted his career.
Yeah, it did. Outstanding match. Definitely look into the match if nobody hasn't seen it yet. I give it a 4.75 out of 5.
You said 4.5 out of 5 or 4.75 out of 5?
7.5.
I also give it a 4.75 as well because it was a fantastic match. It was like one of those show stealers for that event.
Up next was the 4-way ladder match we had. It was Imperium, Gallus, the young veterans, and then Mark Andrews and who was his partner? Oh, what the hell is his partner's name? Now it just slipped my mind now.
It's Mark Andrews and it starts with the letter W.
Yeah, what? Oh my god. What is his name? It's Mark Andrews and
If you want me, I can look it up.
Yeah, sure. Look it up because my brain's kind of fried at the moment.
And I suffer from CRS, if y'all guys know what that means.
Uh, well, anyway, as you're looking that up, really great match. There was that one botch spot where the table broke.
Flash Morgan
Flash Morgan
Webster.
Webster. Yep, Flash Morgan Webster. Great match. There was the botch spot with the table, and then there was that crazy spot with Webster and Andrews together jumping off the ladder and going on to, I think it was one of the uh Imperium members. I don't know if it was one of the Imperium members or no, it was one of the Gallus members.
Yeah, it was Gallus.
Might have been, yeah, I think it was him actually.
Joe Coffey, not
No,
Joe
Mark
Coffey, but his
Coffey.
brother. Mark Coffey, that's it.
Mark Coffey, that's who it was. Crazy spot. Great match, like I said. About a
And on top of that, they said in that match after that happened, eat your heart out, Jeff frickin' Hardy.
yeah.
Because I was like a Jeff Hardy momentum with that kind of shit. I'm like, holy shit. And then they did the wedging of the ladders into the rungs and whatnot, and there was like a power bomb or whatnot.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out. And then they had like 4 ladders in the matchup, and then all 4 members were up on that ladder.
Yeah,
like,
that was a good spot.
And I was thinking of this happening. Says, please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't die. Kind of moment, you know?
Yep. But I give the match a 4.25, 4.5.
I give it this one a 4.5.
And then finally, the main event: Joe Coffey versus Walter for the United Kingdom Championship. What did you thought?
Decent.
I thought it was fine.
Nothing spectacular. Even though it would have been cool if Joe Coffey would have won and then Dallas would have been holding all the gold in UK, but that didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. The match went for about 27 minutes and 30 seconds, which is perfect because this match did not need it to go like 35 or 40 minutes long. It was fine. I thought the most fun out of this match was Walter's chops. Sounded like shotgun shots echoing throughout the building, which is always great to hear when Walter does his chops. It just sounds like he's killing them with them.
And it still does it. And he still does it. Even against Adam Cole.
Oh my God, that was something else. That was a great chop.
I'm like, how are these guys not having their chest caved in by that guy?
Oh my God, that was a great chop. But
Joe Coffey understand that he ain't gonna get any chest collapsing because he's a big guy within himself. But Adam Cole, I'm surprised that guy's still breathing.
Yeah, exactly. I give it a 3.5. I nothing higher than that.
You know what? I'm being a little generous. 3.75.
Okay. So overall, what score would you give NXT UK Blackpool 2?
With the average that I did, maybe 7.5, 8. Nothing higher than an 8.
I give it a solid 8. Solid 8 in my book. And just going over the quick tally here. So, looking back of who we voted for. So, Trent 7 versus Eddie Dennis. I went for Dennis. You went for 7. I picked up the point for that. Score 1-0. The 3-way women's match, we both went for Tony. Tony lost. Kaylee Ray won. Score still at 1-0. Devlin versus Bate. We both went for Bate. Bate did indeed win. Score 2-1. The 4-way ladder match, we both went for Imperium. They lost. Gallus won. Score still 2-1. Finally, the main event, Coffey, Walter. We both went for Walter. I would say that was an easy win for the both of us. 3-2. Thus, I win NXT UK takeover Blackpool 2. So I get the lead advantage so far. Of course, we'll see how the other shows go. So I go 1-0, and then you go 0-1-0, and Matthew Sonic Mix wins UK Blackpool 2. All right, so we got that out of the way very quick. Now let's jump to the double decker here. Back to back
Dear
predictions here.
God.
Starting off with NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide. I'm actually looking forward to this show. I think this is going to be a really great show here. We got 6 matches. We actually have a pre-show match.
It better be like Blackpool 1, where that was the better show of the two. But I digress. Let's continue on.
Right. So as always, we go from the bottom to the top here. We got Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray.
Singles match without for the title. You know what? I'm picking Kaylee Ray.
I'm going Kaylee Ray just because she's the current UK champion right now.
And I don't think that Mia Yim is going to degrade herself. I'm going from NXT US to NXT UK because that makes no sense.
Right. Up next, now this match I'm looking forward to. DIY versus Mustache Mountain.
You know what? DIY.
I gotta go with DIY for this one. Like I said, this is gonna be a kick-ass match. It's gonna be great. DIY, I think, picks up the win in the end. Up next,
which I'm surprised that they're reuniting again, which I'm glad for, but I'm shocked at the same time. So I'm talking to a friend of mine about this. What about Tegan Knox? What about Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai? Will they reunite in the future? I think so.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, eventually. I mean, once rivals will be friends again.
Give them about 2 years.
Right.
Like how DIY took them 2 years to get to this point.
Up next, we have Angel Garza versus Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Jordan Devlin versus Travis Banks in a fatal 4-way for the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Who do you think wins?
Angel Garza.
It's got to be Angel. It's got to be Angel Garza. I mean, he just recently won the title. Too soon to take it off of him. Up next, Finn Balor versus Dragunov. Who do you think wins?
Finn Balor.
It's got to be Finn Balor. Has to be Finn Balor. Up next.
Unless if Dragunov comes out with like a freaking weird demonic gimmick, then maybe. Or if Finn Balor turns into demon, maybe. If they do it both head on head, but that ain't going to happen. It's like man on man kind of deal.
Right. Up next, Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm. Who do you got?
Ripley.
It's got to be Rhea Ripley. Has to be. And then finally,
Toni Storm.
And then finally, what's most likely the main event, and I'm actually looking forward to this one as well. Undisputed Era versus Imperium 4-on-4.
Oh, this one's going to be an interesting battle.
And this is going to be a hard pick. At least I think this is a hard pick here.
You know what they should have done with this matchup?
Have all titles?
No. You know what ultimately they should have done with this?
At least
make it an elimination match.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Considering that Imperium distracted Undisputed Era for the loss for the Dusty Rhodes Classic, it seems like they really needed desperately for Undisputed Era to lose. And since Roderick Strong lost the title to Keith Lee at Wednesday's NXT showing, I think Undisputed Era needs a freaking win for this match. I don't think Imperium needs a win fully. I think Undisputed Era needs more of the win than Imperium does. So I'm saying Undisputed Era, final answer.
Like I said, it's a tough one here because, Undisputed invaded the UK, and then Imperium invaded in the matches with Undisputed Era on Wednesday. You know what? I'm going to go off on a limb, and I'm going to say Imperium. I think... I feel like we may start seeing a slow dissension with Undisputed Era. And I think that slow dissension starts with Imperium winning. So I'm gonna go with Imperium. And you know what? I'm gonna throw in one bonus point for this show, and it involves the four-way match. So here's the bonus point. If your guy wins, which we both picked Angel Garza for, who eats the fall?
Who are the other three?
Isaiah Swerve Scott, Jordan Devlin, Travis Banks.
It seems like he's targeting more Swerve Scott, so I'm picking Swerve Scott for this one.
I feel like Travis Banks is the one that seems to eat the falls, and they don't really seem to do much with him. So I'm gonna go with Travis Banks. I'm gonna go with Banks to eat the fall. So let's
But
just
it seems like he's bashing freaking Swerve a lot.
Yeah, true. Let's go over the recap really quick here. So Mia Yim, Kaylee Ray, we both picked Kaylee Ray. DIY Mustache Mountain, DIY. The Fatal 4-Way Cruiserweight Championship match, we both picked Angel Garza with the bonus point of if your guy wins, who eats the fall? You went with Swerve Scott. I went with Travis Banks. Balor versus Dragunov, we both picked Balor. Ripley versus Storm, we both picked Ripley. Undisputed Era versus Imperium. You went with Undisputed, and I went for Imperium. Now we jump to the Royal Rumble here. We got 8 matches, and I have the 2 Royal Rumble lotteries, and I have one other bonus point here. Now, normally I don't add no more than 2 because of the Royal Rumble lottery bonus point game. But I do have one additional bonus point that I think is going to be a little bit interesting here. And we're going to get to that. And we're going to get to. I'm sorry.
Continue. I says, dear God, continue.
Okay. All right. So here we go here. As always, bottom to the top. We got Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo for the United States champion. Who do you think wins?
Andrade.
It has to be Andrade. He just recently won the title, so it doesn't make sense for him to lose it. Up next, Chad Gable. I hate the name Shorty G for the life of me. Chad Gable versus Sheamus.
Sheamus.
It's got to be Sheamus. He just came back, so got to be Sheamus. Up next, Bayley versus Lacey Evans for the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Considering that Bayley attacked freaking
Lacey.
Thank you, Lacey Evans tonight on SmackDown, I'm picking Lacey Evans for the redeeming factor.
I'm looking at this and I'm going, who would Lacey? I mean, sure, if Lacey won, she would feud with Bayley, but after that's done, I mean, who else? You know what?
Sasha Banks.
True, but you know what?
And then Sasha Banks gets a title off of Lacey Evans.
True.
Because you know what? Let's just say if it's Bayley, then who is Bayley going to face off against?
Right, true. But you know what? I'm going to go with Bayley. I'm going to say Bayley retains the title here. So Bayley's my final pick. Up next, Roman Reigns. Oh, God, this match. Ugh. Hopefully, this is the end. I really hope it is. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Since King Corbin won it last time against Roman Reigns with the help of a lot of people, I want to say Roman Reigns and finally going to pick Roman Reigns.
I'm going with Roman Reigns. I mean, I think I speak for most, if not everyone. I'm sick and tired of this feud. It needs to just be done. So Roman's my pick. Up next, Becky Lynch versus Asuka, the rematch from last year's Royal Rumble for the Raw Women's Championship. Who do you got?
Was it Asuka that won it last year?
Asuka won last year, yep.
It's got to be Becky.
It has to be Becky Lynch. I mean, this story has been that Asuka has Becky's number. Becky cannot beat this woman. So the rematch happens a year later, and it makes sense for Becky to get redemption. So Becky's my pick. Up next, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan in a strap match for the Universal Championship.
Well, a coworker of mine was saying about this match, and with this weird stipulation, he's picking Daniel Bryan to win it. You know what? The Fiend has to lose it at WrestleMania. It cannot be this soon. So I'm picking the Fiend.
I think this is an easy pick here. It has to be the Fiend winning. No other situation. Fiend wins. And then we get to the two Royal Rumble matches. First, the women's Royal Rumble match. Now, as always, I want you to think of all the possibilities, all the possible outcomes. Who's going to be in it? What surprise may we see? Think of all the outcomes, and when you are ready, I want 2 picks.
I wish it was 3. Please, can it be 3?
No.
3.
No, I'm
3.
actually saving that 1 bonus point for something else. So 2. You see what it is. But 2.
Can I look it up to see who's possibly in it so far?
Yep. Well, take your time. Like I said, it's all the possibilities. Anything.
I know one of my answers you are going to laugh at, but I can't say that person's name.
Well, like I said, any possibility.
Charlotte being number 1.
All right. So if not Charlotte, then who would be your second pick?
Let's see the roster, because they only got 9 out of 30.
Yeah.
Why can't they do it all in one shot?
What's up?
Why can't they do it all in one shot?
Well, I guess that's WWE for you.
I know Charlotte's 1. Since that's a Raw superstar.
Charlotte and who?
I'll laugh if it's Sasha Banks. You know what? Sasha Banks.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right. My 2.
But I know those are my 2 picks. But the other 2 picks that I would have picked, Shayna Baszler or AJ Lee. Those are my other 2 picks. But for the purpose of this points system right now, Charlotte and Sasha.
All right. So of all the possibilities and whatnot, my first pick is going to be Charlotte. My second pick, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a limb, and I'm going to say Shayna Baszler. I'm going to go off on a little limb here. So I could be wrong, I could be right, but those are my 2 picks.
So if it's Shayna Baszler, then who does she go after?
Becky Lynch.
But then what if the returning Ronda Rousey comes back?
Well, then Ronda could distract Becky and help her friend Shayna pick up the win.
But what if she's in the Rumble?
Oh, no, that would be interesting.
Ooh, because we never see that happen. 2 4-horsewomen in the Rumble and 2 4-horsewomen in the Rumble for UFC. That would be interesting.
There would be. And then what maybe the main event, maybe the woman's going to be the main event, I don't know. The men's Royal Rumble. Now, once again, think of all the possibilities. Think of all the outcomes when you are ready. 2 picks.
CM Punk.
Sir, are you being serious, or is that your actual pick?
You know what? Fuck it. I am serious.
All right, CM Punk. All right. If not him, then who's your second pick?
Brock Lesnar.
Wow. Okay.
It's happened before
Yeah. True.
where a number 1 entrant wins it all.
Right. All right. So CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. I had to laugh at that one. All right. My 2
Hey,
picks.
whoa. How funny would it be if those 2 were the final 2 men?
I mean, that would be something.
And then he tosses Brock Lesnar out, invokes his claws, and then goes to WrestleMania, Beast versus Best in the World.
Yep.
Finally.
My 2 picks. Well, here's what I think. I don't think Brock's winning. That's my prediction. My first pick is Roman Reigns. My second pick, originally I was going to pick Keith Lee, but because he's the North American champion, I don't think he's not going to win it. I think he's going to be in the Rumble, but he's not going to win it. Then I was thinking Matt Riddle. And I was like, I want to see Riddle and Brock. It's like a dream of mine I want to see. But he's not going to win the Rumble.
No offense to your namesake, but fuck Matt Riddle. If he wasn't higher than a fucking type most of the time, then I would have been saying, okay, fine, he's a great athlete.
Oh, but...
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, but the joint comment on NXT this past Wednesday was gold.
You gotta be joking me with that shit.
Oh, come on. That was funny.
Why can't they do that with Jeff Hardy? Why can't they do that with Jeff Hardy? He fucking higher than Kite hat most of his time. I'm surprised Jeff Hardy and freaking Matt Riddle are tag team champions now.
Oh, jeez. But no, so my first pick is...
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2 higher than fucking Kite sons of bitches. You know what? Add Edge to the mix, too.
Oh, jeez. But no, so Roman Reigns is my first pick. My second pick, I'm going to go off... I'm going to be dark horse with this one. I'm picking Drew McIntyre.
You know what? If he does win, then he actually fucking deserves it. You know why? How many years has WWE has screwed him?
I mean, he's done jack crap since coming onto the main roster, which was what, 2 years ago.
He didn't even do much in NXT either.
No. Well, he did win the NXT title, but that was it.
What, the championship?
The championship, yeah.
Against who?
Was who did he beat? Robert Roode.
Well, of course, 2 TNA superstars.
Or Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode back then, yeah.
Back then, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I expect that to happen because it's 2 TNA superstars, but I digress.
Yeah.
But now those 2 haven't done jack shit as of recently.
No. But yeah, so those are my picks there. All right, now we get to, before we get to the Royal Rumble lottery, I do have the one bonus point that I wanted to share here. So, here's the one bonus point. If Brock gets eliminated, who eliminates Brock from the Rumble? And for this one, I will give you 3 picks.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So if Brock gets eliminated, who eliminates Brock from the Rumble? You're allowed 3 guesses.
I picked one. Roman.
All right, so Roman, who's your second?
McIntyre.
All
Or
right, I
Galloway.
like that pick. And who's your final?
CM Punk. I would laugh if Paul Heyman guys are at the final. And then who Paul Heyman gonna pick?
Okay. All right, so you went with Roman, McIntyre, and Punk. Here are my 3 picks. My first pick is going to be Kofi.
Why?
For redemption for losing in like 5 seconds to Brock on SmackDown. It would be for the purpose of redemption. That would be for the purpose. So my second pick, I'm going to go with, oh boy, I would love if it was McIntyre. But I don't think it's going to be McIntyre. I'm going to pick Roman because, well, probably because of the history. My third pick, I'm not picking McIntyre, and I think you're going to laugh your ass off with this one. I hope it isn't, because if anybody's going to eliminate Brock, it should be somebody like a big deal or somebody that makes sense, like Kofi, to get redemption. But I'm going to pick R-Truth. And I think the reason why I'm picking R-Truth is
well, it kind of makes sense as well for him because Brock Lesnar screwed R-Truth.
Right. Now, R-Truth, I think, would be the Maven role. If you remember with Maven, how he eliminated The Undertaker and then Taker just killed him afterwards, that is the role with R-Truth. Now, it's not going to take R-Truth anywhere, but if it was to have like that one spot moment, then fine. But I would appreciate it more if it was a McIntyre or a Kofi for redemption. Roman, Roman, I wouldn't really care because it's kind of like, oh God, been there, done that. But McIntyre or Kofi, I would appreciate more. But it could be R-Truth, and that's why I'm picking R-Truth. All right, now.
But didn't R-Truth uninvoke himself into the...
He did, but you know what? I mean, anything can happen.
History. Yeah, I know.
Anything can happen. I mean, hell, he may not even be in the Rumble. Maybe some guys are chasing him for the 24 or the stupid broccoli title, the 24/7 title. And who knows? Maybe Truth just gets into the ring and just eliminates him and then runs off. It doesn't even have to be in the match. So that can happen, but we'll see.
That would be funny. But then, isn't Mojo Rawley champion?
He is. But like I said,
so the Mojo Rawley gets pinned somewhere along this event by R-Truth somehow.
Yeah.
And then Mojo Rawley chases after R-Truth.
Probably on the train at Minute Maid Park. That's actually funny now that I said that. But all right.
First time in a vehicle.
Yep, exactly. All right, we get to my favorite bonus point of all bonus points, and that is the Royal Rumble lottery. You know how this works, but for those to the audience that doesn't know how this works, here's how it works. I have chosen 10 participants from both the women's and the men's, and I'm going to name the participant, and from 1 through 30, you guess who you think comes out in what entry. And for the men's only, we know that Brock is number 1. So for the men's only, from 2 to 30, who do you think comes out in which entry? So if you are ready, let's start off with the women's. And yes, I'm going to send you a picture of this, Tony, so that way you know that who you picked, who what. So here we go.
Fair enough.
So here we go for the women's. Starting off, Charlotte Flair. 14. Natalia. 7. Alexa Bliss.
16.
Sweet 16. Nikki Cross.
15.
15?
1-5, yes, 15.
Sarah Logan.
20.
20. Dana Brooke.
10.
Mandy Rose.
25.
25. Sonya Deville.
11.
11. Carmella.
Number 1.
Oh, all right. Number 1. And finally, Sasha Banks.
30.
Ooh, coming out last. All right, I like that. All right, before I take the pictures and whatnot, let's jump to the men's now. Men's Royal Rumble lottery from 2 to 30, kicking off Roman Reigns.
I know it's not going to be 2 because that'll take too long. All right, good pick number 2. We'll make it long. You know what? I'm picking number 10 for him.
Number 10, Roman Reigns. All right, Aleister Black.
A dark horse. 13.
13, all right. Unlucky number. Drew McIntyre.
14.
14 it is. Randy Orton.
21.
21. AJ Styles.
Number 5.
Number 5, low number. Kevin Owens.
Number 7.
7. King Corbin.
Number 2.
Ooh, you think he's going to be the number 2 spot. All right. Ricochet.
25.
25 Ricochet. Kofi Kingston.
Number 3.
Ooh, number 3. And finally, Samoa Joe.
Number 18.
18. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead. Let me do this really quick. And I will take a snapshot of your votes. So, people listening to this, please do bear with me here as I take this snapshot of the picks. And there we go. I am going to send these picks to my buddy here, Tony. So to my friend Tony here, you should be getting these picks very soon with the words Tony's picks.
Don't we normally do your picks on top of my picks instead of doing it separately?
We usually do. Oh no, I forgot how we did it last year.
We did it where we did my picks and we did your picks and then I did my picks.
No. I think if I remember right, the way we did it last year was you did all of your picks first and then I did all of mine. I'm pretty sure that's how we did it.
This is different one.
All right, so let me go ahead and erase the numbers here. All right, just give me one moment here as I erase the numbers here. All right, so we now jump to the women's Royal Rumble, back to the women's again, and this time I do my picks. All right, so here we go. Starting off, Charlotte Flair. I think she's going to be fairly high. I'm going to say 19. Natalia, I think she's going to be early. I'm going to say 9. Alexa Bliss. I'm going 23. Nikki Cross, I'm going to go 12. Sarah Logan, I think she's going to be early. I'm going to say 10. Dana Brooke, I'm going to say early with her. I'm going to say 6. Mandy Rose, 17. Sonya Deville, I'm looking at my numbers here. 15. Carmella, you say 1? I'm going to go with 2. And then finally, Sasha Banks, I'm going to go 29.
One less numbers for the both of, or between the two of us with the two last.
Yeah. Roman Reigns. Now to the Men's Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns. I don't think he's going to be early. I think he's going to come kind of late. Kind of. I'm going to go with 24. Aleister Black. I'm going to go with 18. Drew McIntyre. I'm going 27 McIntyre. Randy Orton. 16. AJ Styles. I'm going to go 13. AJ Styles. Kevin Owens. I feel like he's going to be kind of late, but not really late. I'll go 25. King Corbin, I think he's going to be early. I'm going to go with 8. Ricochet, I think he's going to be an early guy as well. I'm going to go with 10. Kofi Kingston, this can go either way, I think. I'm looking at my numbers here. I'm going for 11. Samoa Joe, I think he's going to be late. How late? I'm saying 20. I don't think he's going to be 30. I think 30 is going to be saved for a special spot. So I'm going to pick 29 for him. And with that said, let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and take a snapshot of my picks. There we go. Let me go ahead and send these said picks to you with Matt's picks. And there we are. It is officially in the books. So you have them, I have them. And that way, when we do our review, we can look back at our picks and see if we got any of them right or if we mostly got all of them wrong. So let's just do a quick recap here, and then we'll jump into our prediction with the Super Bowl. So Andrade versus Carrillo, we both went with Andrade. Chad Gable against Sheamus, we both went for Sheamus. Bailey, Lacey Evans, you went with Lacey, I went with Bailey. Roman versus Corbin in the Falls Count Anywhere match, we both picked Roman. Becky versus Asuka, we both picked Becky. The Fiend versus Bryan, we both went for the Fiend. The women's Royal Rumble match, you went with Charlotte or Sasha to win, and I went with Charlotte or Shayna Baszler to win. The men's Royal Rumble, you went with Punk and Brock, and I went with Roman and McIntyre. The Royal Rumble lottery, I'm not going to go over all of them. If anybody wants to hear the numbers again, you can always listen to them again on who we picked. But the one bonus point that I will mention, if Brock gets eliminated, who eliminates Brock from the Rumble? I picked of my three choices of Kofi, Roman, or R-Truth, and you went with Roman, McIntyre, or CM Punk, which I still kind of laugh about that.
Well, it could have happened.
I mean, it could, and then all laughs would be on me, of course. All right. All right. So let's jump into a quick prediction of the Super Bowl. So really quick, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Titans 35-24 to advance to their first Super Bowl in 50 years versus the 49ers, to which the 49ers beat the Packers. The 49ers' last appearance was either 2012 or 2011 when they lost to the Ravens. So, Super Bowl 54, 49ers versus the Chiefs. Who do you think wins, and what is the score?
You know what? For this one, I'm picking the 49ers.
And what is the score?
24-12.
So a touchdown and maybe a field goal ish game. Well, no, it would be no. I take that back. It would be a 2 touchdown game, and mediocrely kind of low. Okay. Well, I'm going for the 49ers, and I am predicting a score. Boy. You know what? I'll say this much. This could be a 2 touchdown game, or it could be a touchdown game. I think it's going to be kind of a high score. And I'm saying the high.
It better not be anywhere in the 50s, because if that's the case, I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling refunds. Fuck that 50-point garbage.
Oh, boy.
If it's that high, would you?
I mean, the 49ers have an excellent defense. And like I said, this could be a blowout. But my final answer, I'm going 49ers 34 to the Chiefs 28. I think it's going to be mediocrely high. And I'll make one other prediction. This game, I will predict and say now, will not be boring as last year's. And I think the audience view or the viewership will be very high than the viewership of last year's.
I think with either of our scores, I think it'll be really interesting to see how it ends up being,
Exactly. But you and I both picked the 49ers to win. That's out of the way. Now let's jump to a funny story that happened at work. And then my review recap of my first day back in college after 6 long years. So let me get this story out of the way really quick. So I work in the office now at the job I work at. Not mentioning.
Congratulations.
Yep, thank you. Once again, not mentioning names of the company I work for, but I had made a phone call to another shop that's down in Atlanta. And I was asking for a part number, and the guy that I was talking to, his first response to me after I had gave him the part number, his first response to me was, "Dude, why are you not in radio, man? That voice of yours is so perfect for radio." And I started laughing, and I said, Well, you're not the first one to say that to me because I've received thousands of compliments like that. And he was telling me a story that he has friends or friends of friends who did broadcasting, and that those said friends are making tons of money, tons and tons of money. So just wanted to get that story out of the way. Now, the one story that I'm sure you want to hear the most, and to the audience here. So, the college that you and I went to together, it's the first time back in 6 years.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. So, I'm in the parking lot of the M building. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. Like my legs were a little bit shaky. But
Don't be nervous. Don't be shaky.
but
Just go in, get the gold, as they always say.
yes. But I got very comfortable very quick. So the first thing I did was I looked for my class. And ironically enough, if you remember the M building, it's literally the first room on the left. You walk in and boom, it's right there on the left. It's that big huge lab, if you remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So so after I had immediately found it, I said to myself, you know what? I want to walk around campus. I want to relive some classic memories. So the first class I went to was at the M building, and it's iconic to me because it's the first classroom I ever went in, and it was the first class I ever took, and it was an 8 o'clock class back in 2008. Um, if I may tell the story really quick, uh, it was my
Go for it.
it was my first day in college, fresh out of high school, and I was 18 at the time, and I can remember my mom. She dropped me off, and she said good luck to you and whatnot, and she drives off, and I'm right there, and I'm just like, wow, well, this is it. This is it. There's going to be nobody familiar to me. All these teachers are going to be unfamiliar. Like, I'm literally walking into unfamiliar territory. It was scary at first, but it was exciting because it's like, well, here we go. This is it. So, the classroom was M124, and that was the very first classroom I ever walked into. Now, obviously, the room was dark; it was pitch black, so I couldn't see anything. But I stared at the room, and I was just kind of like, "Wow, you know what? This was the classroom that started it all." And that room was my computer science class back in 2008. And
Nice.
and then I walked a little ways down, and there was people around, and I didn't like look into the room or anything like that. But the next room, I think it was 131. I think that was the room. And that was the room which I had took Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint.
So another computer class.
Yes, but that was in 2013, as a matter of fact, not 2008. But staying in 2008, so I left the M building, and I walked across, and I went into the main portion of the campus, and I walked into the F building. Now, the F building to me, that was the building that most of my classes were held at. All of my writing classes, my reading classes, math, the history class that you and I were in. And I'll get to that in just a second. So, so I walked past my old reading class, and I walked past my old math class. And funny enough, on the second floor, close to the doors going to the H building, that room is now an administration's room.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So I'm walking down the hallway. I'm going on the opposite end of the F building. And I go up the stairs, and I know you know where this is going. I open the door and I look into the old writing room that I had back in 2008. Once again, the room was pitch black. So I just stared at it and I was like, wow, a lot of great memories here. And actually, that room, that writing section, that was the class where I had befriend, who I'm still friends to this day, and I'll mention his first name. So I'm giving a shout out to my buddy here, Estevan. He was the very first ever college friend I had, and after almost 12 years, I am still friends with him.
Congratulations on top of that, too.
So, big shout out to Estevan if you're listening to this. So, the room right next to there is the history class that you and I were in. And funny enough, I took a peek in there and all I saw were computers. So I'm guessing the room is a computer room now. At least that's what I took it as.
Unless if they're starting to now use more computers instead of you bringing your own laptop to school.
True. Now, maybe that room is still used for history lessons. I'm not 100% sure. I just found it a little fun. Excuse me. I just found it a little funny that,
Do you know what you should do next time you go back to school? On Monday, I believe you said it was.
yes.
Take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Picture of me.
Yeah, no, I was gonna do that. I was gonna do that anyway on Monday so that you can see. So I was planning on walking to, I believe it's the I building or the building close to the A building. I don't know if it's the I building or if it's some other building, but I decided to save it for Monday. And that building was the building that I had my music class and my speech class, but I decided to do it on Monday. So I'm back in the M building, and I'm waiting around,
Right.
and my first class is at 7. So I look at the time; it's 6:45, and I said, you know what? I'll introduce myself now. So I walk in, and I said that I was here for 150 math, and they said, "Oh, just go ahead and have a seat over there." So I grab a seat, and I started looking around and I'm noticing that I'm surrounded by all these girls. And I'm looking around, I'm like, am I going to be the only guy here? Which it's kind of like, okay, I guess I'm the only guy
So what
here.
class is it again?
My math class.
I doubt it.
But about 2 seconds later, like 2 other guys came in, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not going to be the only guy here. Actually, a funny story. This isn't my story. This is a buddy of mine's story. But when he was in college, he legit had a class where he was the only guy. Everybody else was girls.
I bet he was shitting his balls out.
I bet he felt like the luckiest SOB in that class. But
Yeah, Mr. Hugh Hefner over there.
yeah, definitely. So the teacher introduced ourselves. I'm not gonna mention her name. I'll mention to you her name after we're done here. So she seemed like a really nice lady, very very nice. So we all get up and we move into the other room that's literally like 5 steps from us. And we get to the point to where we're introducing ourselves, but we're introducing ourselves to the neighbors. So right behind me were 2 girls. Um, Once again, I'm not mentioning names here, but the one girl.
Not again. Not again. Ugh.
But
Okay, continue.
so interesting enough, the one girl I was talking to, she was going in to be a nurse. Then the other girl next to her, same thing, but she was a little interesting. I guess she was transferring from Indiana, but she lives here in Illinois. So her story was a little interesting. then we get to, okay, so this is how it happens. So whoever you introduced, they had to talk about you, but they also had to remember on what you did. So the one girl that was talking about me, uh, she said that I worked full time, and she mentioned the fact that this is my first time back in 6 years. And the teacher said, "Oh, this is your first time back. Well, first off, welcome back." And I said, "Thank you very much." And she said, "What are you back for?" And you're gonna laugh your ass off with this one. So I said to her that that I'm taking this math course as basically as a warm up, so that way I can get used to working full time and then doing school part time. But ultimately, I'm looking into radio broadcasting or broadcasting in general, and I'm going to start looking into that right before the summer. And her first response back to me after I said that was, "Oh, you definitely sound like a radio guy. I can hear it in your voice." So, and then of course I start saying, "Oh, you're definitely not the first one. I've had many compliments about that for like the last 10 years." And I just decided to say to myself, you know what? People seem to hear something in me, and if I have this gift, I might as well make use of it, because it's either use it or lose it, or have it go to waste.
uh, Funny enough, with your similar story with your broadcasting voice, sometimes people said I am pretty good with voice acting, so I wish I was into a voice acting career. That would have been so much fun.
Oh
And
yeah.
plus, doing computers, oh, that made a whole much better. Then I could do my work at home pretty much.
Exactly. So she hands us the syllabus. Oh, and this is the interesting thing. This is the one interesting thing that I want to mention. So, as you know, I'm taking 045, which is the lowest of low of math. But this is interesting. I've never heard of this before. So, the course that I'm taking, it's kind of an online course, but it's not really an online course. All the work is on this program called Alex. That's the name of the program. She's gonna get into that on Monday, but that's where all your
Surprised,
homework is gonna be,
I'm
projects.
surprised. I'm surprised they got rid of the other program
Are you
that
talk?
we all had.
Are you talking Blackboard?
Yeah,
Well, there is a Blackboard still, but I guess the course that I'm taking doesn't use it.
not yet. Okay.
So what's interesting is, so all your homework, subjects, whatnot, topics is all there. And the thing about it is, if you get done with 045 early, you can jump to 055 while you're still taking the same class. And if you get done with 055, then you can jump to 85. So technically, it's 3 classes in one.
I've never heard that happen
I
before. We'll,
know, because I
we'll
was going to
compare
ask
that.
you, have you heard of anything like that?
No, where it's like three classes pretty much in one. Then you know what? Sonic Mix, for that recommendation that I sent you earlier with that calculator, get it. The
Well,
graphics calculator, because if that is true, I think that calculator that I recommended is better off for you at this point, not the one that you got now.
well, let's just wait it out. Let's see how the next month or two goes. And if I get done early and I jump into 055 while still being in the same room, same course, then I'll jump into getting what you showed me. But for now, let's give it at least 2 months and see what happens.
I wouldn't do it now and get it done and over with so you get familiarized with the software and all.
True, true. But yeah, so I'm looking at this going, wow. So if I can kill three birds with one stone, well then heck, I mean that just brings me even more closer to going into 101 and getting that out of the way and not have to worry about it.
Because 45 you said it was, correct?
Yes.
Basically, I think what that class is high school algebra. And then 55 is like high school algebra 2. And then, uh, what is it? 85, that's pre-algebra college. And then 101 or 150 or whatever the number is college algebra 1.
Right, right. And yes, there are tutors there, so they're more than happy to help out, of course. And
Utilize that. Utilize that.
yes, yes, definitely. And yeah, so basically, I mean, hey, if if they're offering that, might as well take advantage of it. And
Correct.
and she was also saying that with the work and whatnot on the Alex program, you have to put in at least 7 to 10 hours a week with the program. And same thing, if you get done early, and it says it on the syllabus, if you get it done early and you take the final and you pass, you may think, oh well, I don't have to show up for class. Wrong. Then you would
You
just
go
go
do.
into 055 exactly.
So is it pretty much you're getting the same teacher all
Yeah,
throughout?
yeah, yeah. So if I
I
pass
like her already.
045 while the semester's still going on, I'll still have her for 055. And if I pass that under her, then I'll have her for 085 while this in the same semester.
I like her already.
Yeah, like I said, I'll mention her name after we're done with the show here. But
So is she young or is she old?
old.
Okay.
But no, and you know what? Ultimately, it was a feel good moment. It
I
really
want.
was.
I don't blame you. With that kind of opportunity, it is a feel good moment.
And I've told you the story before, but I'll say it here on the show. For many years, I did wanted to go back to school. I really did, but the previous job I had, and of course, as always, not mentioning names, I mean, I respect the president and growing the business, but just the moving further and further away from home, it took a toll. Car, all that shenanigans, and the job I have now, it's a lot closer to home, and it's closer to my college, and of course, the college is closer to home, and it's just that perfect formula.
And I'm glad that you took my advice after so many years.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was pretty much about, well, first off, trying to find something closer to home and then start making moves. That was basically the formula.
Good job. I'm proud of you, man.
Yep, thank you. And
You're welcome.
like I said, I'll keep you up to date. And if there's stories that I can mention that would be perfectly fine to mention on the show, I'll mention it. And of course, anything's very serious, well, that'll be said off the show, of course. But no, I mean,
And
I'll keep.
and and also, if y'all guys have any questions about this, you guys may ask him, and we could have like a future episode about all this.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And now we get to the main event. Now, this main event, a buddy of mine who actually lives out in Indiana, he chimed in. And this was the question that he wanted to say. Now he's got two questions actually. So actually, first off, I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Jesse out in Indiana. Big shout out to him. How you doing, Jesse? Hope everything's working well with you. And
Hello,
hope
Jesse. Hello, Jesse. On my behalf, I'm glad that you're chiming in and asking questions. Because if it wasn't due to people like you, we wouldn't have more stuff to talk about.
And our friend Jesse has been enjoying the show, which we say thank you very much. And please continue to listen to the show. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification so when
And
you know the next episode will come.
and also show all your guys' support for Sonic Mix over here.
Yes, definitely. So, this first question, I want to get this question out of the way. And this question was actually more pointed to you, actually, Tony. So his
Really?
question to you was, would Tony consider a cell phone tattoo? Because because so he liked episode 2 with the cell phone talk we had. And somewhere in the conversation, I think it was towards the end, I had asked you the question of all the tattoos you have, what is your best tattoo? And that's what brings the question. So, would you consider a cell phone tattoo?
Personally, if they get bigger, maybe. But I don't think I'll ever get a cell phone tattoo. Maybe a smartwatch tattoo. That would not be a bad idea. So then I'll just pick a time on the smartwatch and be done with it. But it has to be a military time, and it's going to be a time that's going to be what is it? More memorable for me, if you will. But as a Samsung or an LG or an iPhone or this and that, most likely not.
Yeah, exactly. And then his final question, he wants to know if we prefer Android or iPhone and why.
You go first. You're the host.
I prefer Android. I think Android just has the better service. When it comes to their Play Store, mostly all, well, I wouldn't say all, but most of their games are free. And I just think overall, it's the best all around technology cell phone. And the way I look at it is this: Xbox is the Android, Nintendo is the iPhone. And where am I going with this? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you where I'm going with this. The new Xbox and even the new PS5, if I read the statistics right, is going to have the 8K technology built into there. The Switch, as great as it is, and I love the Switch, I really do, but
Did you hear about the next update
the Pro,
for the Switch?
or well, yeah, but that would be a topic saved for another time. But
Oh, why not now?
well, okay, well, spill the beans. You mention it.
Well, for the Switch Pro, they're talking about having officially 4K technology if you dock it, and 1080p if you don't dock it.
Right.
Like the tablet itself is going to have the 1080p. I will be surprised if the tablet itself is 4K, because
I
that would
doubt
make
it.
But how awesome would that be? 4K Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that would be awesome. That'd be great. But no, the point. This is the point that I wanted to make here. Like Nintendo and iPhone. This is just my personal opinion. I know everybody has their different outtakes and their different opinion, but they always seem to be behind with technology. Like I said, the Xbox Series and the PS5 have the 8K built in it. The Switch, while yes, it is getting that 4K in there, but they're still behind with Xbox and PS4, PS5, whatever in this case. Same thing.
I agree with you, but I have $1 million question with all this, and I know where you're going with this. Uh, Android phones, I believe, are now at wireless charging now, where you can put on like a mat and it charges it for you.
Yes.
I don't know if they still got their USB-C plug on the bottom? I'm not quite sure. You would know because you have an Android phone.
I think they do. Yes, at this point.
So, and on top of that, that's the only thing that's different between an iPhone, pretty much, and an Android is the wireless charging capabilities. But as far as software goes, I think they're one and the same, pretty much, just different interfaces. It's like you mentioned Xbox.
Yes.
And you mentioned the Switch. I don't think it's more so that, because the Switch is out of the question. It's more so Xbox and PlayStation, considering that they have different interfaces, but hardware-wise, they're practically one and the same. Maybe a little bit different here and there, just a little bit. But their interfaces are way different, because if you power up your Xbox, you see how it looks on the screen. See how those tabs and those boxes on the TV versus a PlayStation. You have the bar on top, and then you scroll to the left or the right, and then you have your game on the bottom. They don't go further than that, pretty much.
Right.
Maybe if anything, one tab down. That's about it. But I'm hearing that iPhone next year is going to abolish the Lightning port and go straight to USB-C, which at that point is toe-to-toe with Android phones at that point. Only thing else left to get is the wireless charging officially to being accurate and being correctly done properly. And I have another $1 million question. As an Android user, do you use the plug or do you use the wireless charging mat?
I use the plug.
So pretty much it's no different than if you had an iPhone right now.
Yep.
So you said your piece. I'm going to say my piece. I think as a personal user that isn't in a part of a big business that is like a big corporation, if I wasn't in that kind of field, like a shirt and tie professionally, hell yeah, we're getting an Android phone. But as a civilized user, simplicity is what I like best at this point. iPhones are usually simple, but I know you're saying it's harder to get stuff on the iPhone, which you're correct. But as far as Android phones, you can have full customization. And on top of that, it's more susceptible to getting viruses on it because it is a Microsoft product. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So it's more susceptible to get a virus on there if you're not careful of what you're looking at. While the Apple iPhone, they prevent that more or less from happening. What I mean by more or less, I know it could still happen, but it's a lot lower than an Android phone. You hear more people getting more problems with the Android phone unless if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, it is going to have a lot more problems. It might as well just go iPhone. But if you know technology like I do, I'm surprised I'm not an Android user. But I rather prefer iPhones because I've always had a MacBook Pro, and now I have an iWatch and the AirPods. So it's pretty much all within the same family, if you know what I mean. Now, since building this PC, I'm more inclined to getting an Android phone, but there's only one drawback with all this. What happens to all my music on my iPhone?
And plus, like for the longest time, the iPhone didn't had a jack to where you could like plug like the jack from like your headsets to the phone.
They did.
Yeah. But it was a long time until they finally did that.
I think it was like the iPhone 2 or 3 that they started coming out with the 3.5 millimeter jack. And
I
then
feel like
they
it was
got
longer than that, but maybe I'm
no.
off.
Actually, you are off. I think it was the iPhone 3 that had it, and then they had it for about 2 or 3 generations, and then they got rid of it again. The 3.5 millimeter jack, which a lot of users for iPhones got pissed off about. Then they either jumped to Android phone, or they ended up getting the adapter where you could charge your phone and have a 3.5 millimeter jack. Otherwise, more people nowadays are using Bluetooth technology. And then plus Android phones are going to be what, Bluetooth 5.0. Same thing with the iPhone. And then eventually more people are going to be walking around with Bluetooth headsets instead of like the wire attached to them. Because I think the wire gets away with a lot of stuff.
It does for the most part.
Because you'd rather work out at, say, a gym. I know I recommended you not to do it at college, but if you went to, say, Export or LA Fitness or Planet Fitness or whatever the case may be that are out these days, would you be working out with a wireless headset or a wired headset?
Oh, it would easily be a wireless.
See what I'm talking about? And then plus nowadays, with gaming devices, it's all wireless pretty much. You don't plug in your stuff into your controller or your Xbox or your PlayStation or your PC unless if you want the pure quality, then yes, then you would then have to plug it in if you want the pure quality. But if you want the convenience, it's always been wireless.
Oh yeah, easily. So
But to finalize my answer right now, iPhone. But if I had a second phone, a business phone, for sure it's going to be an Android.
so before we wrap things up here, I guess my final question is, so overall, what do you prefer ultimately in the end, Android or iPhone?
For right now, iPhone.
I prefer Android just because I've been comfortable with the Android for the last almost 3 years now.
I think that this coming Christmas, if the iPhone doesn't do a big, and I mean majorly big change to it, might be my final iPhone. Then I might jump to an Android. I just got to figure out how to transfer my music from my iPhone to an Android phone at that point.
You know, I think we said this in episode 2, but if not, I'll say it again. It is ridiculous how, like, the iPhone X and the Samsung Galaxy 10 or whatever it was, it's like $1,000. It's like, dude, $1,000 for a phone when you can get $1,000 for a laptop.
Well, I could tell you one thing. The only reason why they are doing $1,000, give or take $200, is because of one reason. Most cell phone carriers, and I mean most, like the big three, would it be AT&T, would it be Sprint, or would it be Verizon? They don't want you to have that uh, plan where you could pay the phone off in two years. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'd rather you paid off right then and there. So if you do decide to upgrade, you can at any given time. Because you'd rather not be locked in to a contract and wait for the 2 years. Because when I read somewhere that you actually pay more for your phone if you did a 2-year contract than if you did paid it out outright. Like say if you went to say T-Mobile, you have to pay your phone right then and there. If you didn't have the money, then well, tough shit. Then you can't get your iPhone or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this podcast here. Man, I really, really enjoyed this episode of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I think this is probably our best one so far.
I agree. Plus,
I
we have a lot more. Plus, we have a lot more topics to talk about, and we had fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had the review, the predictions, the Super Bowl, my story about school, the questions that my buddy Jesse wanted answered. Really, really great episode here. And
And I'm actually shocked that he brought me up into this question.
yeah, with the cell phone tattoo. I thought that was funny. I thought that was cute. So I guess
You
the
know what?
next
You know what? You know what? Jesse, I want to use your playbook. Matthew,
yeah.
would you ever get a cell phone tattoo yourself?
No.
Would you ever get a tattoo in general?
No.
Fair
I
enough.
think I don't know if I ever told the story or not, but I'll say this really quick before we wrap things up here. When I was about to turn 18, or even before 18, my brother and sister would be like, "Yeah, man, once you hit 18, we're gonna get you your first tattoo," because my brother was 18 when he got his first, and my
Really?
sister,
What was it?
um, I think it was like some like design, like it was like one of those. It was the design that Randy Orton has, like the I don't know what you want to
Um, uh, the thing on his back or the one on his bicep? His original one.
his original.
Got it.
It was something like that. And then my sister had a tattoo um when she turned 18. I don't know exactly what it was. But yeah, they were like, "Yeah, man, we're going to get you your first tattoo when you turn 18." But it never happened because my brother was in the military. Or no, he was just getting out of the military. But there was some things going on in his life, personal reasons. And then my
Got it.
sister got married, and then she had a kid, so it never happened.
I know you're saying you'll never get a tattoo, but let's just say if you did, what would it be?
It would be a Sonic the Hedgehog tattoo,
And if you don't mind me asking, where on the body would you place it at?
the right arm.
Well, because you're right, so it makes sense. And your fast hand is the right, so it does make perfect sense.
Yeah.
I hey, I could go one better for you. You're saying Sonic the Hedgehog on your right shoulder,
Yeah.
and then you could put like down your arm toward your wrist, the smoke.
Oh, you mean the smoke like the Street Profits
Where
the
he
smoke?
no, not that smoke.
Oh,
The,
like he leaves like a trail of smoke.
yeah, that.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Never really thought of it that way, but interesting enough.
Because you know when he does that little spinning of the wheel, like as if he's a friggin' Ford F-50 or something like that,
Right, right.
or actually a Ford Mustang. Sorry about that. Where they go like freaking Mach 10 or something like that with their wheels, if you can get up that high.
Yeah.
But I digress. That would have been a cool ass tattoo.
Yeah, that would have been indeed. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another edition of the Let's Talk Anything podcast. I enjoyed this, just like my buddy Tony Trinity here. As always, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so that way you can be informed to when the next episode drops here on YouTube. And as always, you can follow me at the Twitter, which I will leave a link in the description down below. And you can follow my buddy Tony Trinity. As always, you can follow both of us on Twitter. And until then, I am Matthew Sonic Mix alongside my co-host.
Tony Triple Trinity 06 is my handles for everything and anything except for YouTube, which I got to get changed somehow still. But as always, leave your questions down below, and when we get to them, we'll do that for our next episode. And hopefully, we could get a third party member on this podcast one of these days.
And I guess speaking of next episode, what, Saturday night, Sunday?
So, for all your fans out there and my fans out there, both of our fans out there, let's go with that. Like I said,
So
leave your
Saturday will
questions down.
be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Which is this Saturday or is it Sunday?
Well, this Saturday is the NXT Worlds Collide. So did you want to do the review on that, then the Royal Rumble, like we're split into two parts, or just do it all in one shabam?
I think we should do it on one shabam, make it
All
a
right.
longer session. And if you guys listen to this, and if it's past all this, we'll do it for whatever we do our podcast after the wrestling reviews on top of that. So leave your questions down below, your comments, everything else, and let's have fun with this.
Yes, definitely. So the next time you probably will hear us will be this Sunday night, hopefully, and it will be a one-topic show practically, with our review of NXT Worlds Collide, more in-depth detail with that, and then more in-depth detail with the Royal Rumble. So yeah, so probably gonna be a one-topic show for that Sunday, because obviously I gotta go to bed and wake up early, and I know I'm sure you, Trinity, would have to do the same thing as well for that Sunday night.
I work late the following day, so it makes no difference.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, thank you guys for joining. Once again, I am Matthew Sonic Mix. He is Tony Trinity. And until then, you all have yourselves a good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're listening to this. And we hope to catch you in the next episode where we give our review of NXT versus NXT UK Worlds Collide and the Royal Rumble. Until then, have a good one, and we will see you next time.
And bang, bang. Have a nice day.
Take care, everyone.